Welcome to the Happy Customer channel. On this week's episode, we sit down with Gonzalez, a former customer service executive and now firefighter for the city of West Palm Beach. Let's dive in. This episode is brought to you by Buena Vista Creative, Miami's premier digital marketing agency. Visit buenavistacreative.com for more info on how Buena Vista can help your business increase revenue and create the brand and digital presence it deserves. Video and podcast production, web and app development, search engine and social media marketing, logo creation, outdoor, print, swag, and more. Visit buenavistacreative.com to learn more.
All right, my man. How we doing?
How are you, my friend?
Dude, when people, that question that folks ask where they go, if you could be stranded with one person on an island, who would that be? My answer is always the guest that I have on today, Gonzalez.
I like it.
And the reason is because you can do all the things that I can't. Right? I know that you'll figure out shelter. I know you can start a fire,
right.
Hunting, all that stuff. But the most important thing is when you're stranded on an island, you're going to have a lot of downtime. And you got to have somebody that's a good hang. And you're a great hang.
I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on the
How
show,
are you,
my
friend?
man. I'm doing great,
Very
dude.
happy to be here.
Yeah.
So it's funny. One thing that I remember thinking about in hiring people.
Yeah.
Imagine you have to be on a plane from Miami to LA.
Yep.
Do you want that person sitting next to you? If the answer is no, don't hire that guy.
It's almost always one of our, when we recap and go over sort of our scorecard of hiring people, it's like, could you go on a business trip with this person? Or could you grab a beer with them? And if it's like, especially if somebody's got to be with customers and stuff, it's always a flag. You've had an interesting career.
I have.
You were in the BPO, customer service business for many, many years.
My entire almost life.
Almost your entire life. And, the word pivot, right, gets used a lot. And, what am I going to do with my life and all this stuff? But I can't think of a bigger pivot than you, right? You were an executive at a BPO. I think you like the people who you used to work with, working with leading brands. And then one day you say, this is a different career path for me. I'm going to be a firefighter, right? And you go from, an executive to a rookie again.
Right.
And your rookie class are people that you probably could be their father.
I was twice as old as the youngest guy.
That is amazing.
At 44.
So if you sort of have to get the mindset around that, how did you do that, right? So you went from, up here and you busted your butt to build an awesome career for yourself to, I got to start all over in a completely different industry, different skill sets in a lot of ways, with a different group. How did you mentally get your head around that?
Just I think like everything else that people who want to be successful or try to be successful do, just grind it out. What do you want to do? Be passionate about it. Make that your purpose, and go get it done. And I think that for me, it was, what was my purpose? My kids were older. They were going off to college. I didn't have to worry about them from a financial perspective. I love what I did. I think in the time that I was in the BPO space, I was able to influence a lot of lives, met a lot of great people, a lot of great clients. But you got to ask yourself, what is my next thing?
Yeah, right.
Right. And for me, that's something that I always had in the back of my mind. I felt not only did it give me something that I wanted to do in helping my community and being a civil servant, but also afforded me the time to do all the other things that I wanted to do in life. Be outside, work with charities, work with volunteer programs, getting kids outdoors. And this career that I'm at now affords me the opportunity to do that, and still allows me to go out and have conversations like this and talk about business and use some of the skills that I've learned and some of the maturity that I gained in life to help other people within the department, whether they're firefighters or chiefs. I believe that I'm a sounding board for a lot of those guys because of my experience. And for me, that's more rewarding than getting promoted to lieutenant, captain, or whatever the case is.
We talk a lot about mentorship. You joined the fire department at 44. And a cadet that comes in is 19, 18?
The youngest guy in my class was 21, 22.
Getting your business experience and bringing it to those young kids right out of high school, what was that like?
It's you have to play the part. They don't want to be told, I'm the this, I am the that, follow me, I've got experience. I got to outwork them. Yeah. I had to outrun them every day. I had to outscore them on every exam. I had to outperform them on every PO. And at that point, I'm letting it speak for myself. And they start saying, hey, how do you do that? I go, on the 5-mile run, how are you 44 and the first guy in line? I'm like, because I want to be here. I want to do this. And if you're going to push yourself to do the things that you want to do, because it just becomes automatic. It's not work for you. So the mentorship starts by doing. Phil Jackson. I've never met the guy, right? Mentor of mine. Great book, very spiritual. He guided me, right? Without him knowing, he has no idea who I am. Right. He guided me on my spiritual journey.
Right.
Pat Riley. Great book. Guided me on my business journey. He has no idea who I am. Right. But he is a mentor. So a mentor doesn't have to be somebody that you can wrap your arms around. A mentor could be somebody who said, man, this person inspires me.
Yeah. And their success leaves clues. That's a true thing. You're trying to take best practices from all these great leaders. Same with me. Tons of mentoring. I love Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? I've never met the guy in my life. Right. I will probably never meet him. Right. But his story and his determination, and it's, living in this little village in Austria, and then one day saying, I'm not only going to be the Mr. Olympia, but I'm going to be the greatest action actor in the world and the highest paid. Dude, he was 18 years old, never taken an acting class, right? And then coming up with a plan and working that plan. You're right. The mentorship starts by doing, but it doesn't need to be somebody that you touch and feel and know personally.
Right. And I think that's where what helped me and what helps me to this day, I just go about my business, right, and I am who I am. If what I am and what I do is helpful to you and you want me to share that, fantastic. I don't know. Listen, a candle doesn't lose its light when it lights another candle. Right. It just makes the room brighter.
Yeah.
So for me, if I can help someone out, let's go. Because I'm still learning from people around me.
Right. You mentioned something when you started at the fire department. I said, how's it going? And you go, one of the best things is I don't take work home with me. And I thought about it. I said, that's kind of crazy. I said, you're right. I go to sleep at night. I'm thinking the next day about this customer or this team member or whatnot. And you're like, every day's a new day. Mm-hmm. Walk me through that, because at the end of the day, your new day is very different than mine, right? I'm looking at Excel spreadsheets and PowerPoints and conference calls. You're going into hairy situations, whether it's an overdose, an accident, what have you. How do you decompress from that?
Right. So the first part was very difficult. Yeah. Because when you leave work here, between here and the front door, you're having another 10 conversations with everyone in the office. When my relief, right, we call it a relief, the person who I'm in a seat in the morning. Today I'm riding backwards on the engine, right, like the old school engines that you have your backs to the front. I'm riding backwards. The other guy who's riding backwards come in. I give him a pass down. Here's what we did. We got fuel. We ran tools. We had a fire. We had a gas leak over here. Once that's done, my equipment is off the truck and his is on. I'm done. It took me months to actually leave work at that point without walking around saying, hey, do you need anything? Is there anything else?
What are you doing here?
Yeah. Like, get out of here. Hey, is your relief here? Yeah. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Get out of here already. That was very difficult to learn. I can go on a 5-mile hike now, leave my phone at home, and not be concerned about it. I wasn't able to do that.
Right.
In the BPO space, there was a client, there was a call, there was always something going on. Yeah. There was always something going on. So that helped me clear my mind, so I can focus on other things. Number one, my own mental health. My family's mental health, the mental health of the people around me, and I think where that comes in the fire service is we can disconnect. From those calls, right? We can't disconnect from the overdose. We can't disconnect from the really bad car accident. The first phase to do that is around the kitchen table. There's 6 or 7 folks at the fire station. You come back from a call, they call it gallows humor. We start talking about, man, can you believe that this happened? Or wow, did you see that? And that's how you decompress. But we need to do more. Firefighter mental health is a big issue right now. For many reasons, right? The stigma associated with it. Again, I go mountain biking, I break an arm, I come in with my arm in a sling. Whoa, what happened, man? Oh, I was mountain biking. Yeah. You're going to say, hey, what's going on now, man? My head's not straight today. Well, you're persona non grata. It's not cool. It's not what firefighters do. And we need to get over that. And how you do that is by having conversations with your team around the table. You have conversations like this, bringing it out in the open to help relieve some of that anxiety that firefighters face.
What are your life KPIs, right? So what's important to you? Because you're a guy, I've known for many years, deep spiritual. Like, what are things that are important to you?
Man, am I learning?
Okay.
Am I moving forward? And learning could be anything, right? Am I learning a new skill? Am I learning a new song on the guitar? Right. Am I learning something new about the environment? Am I working with somebody and making them better? So my KPI is if I'm learning, I'm moving forward. If I'm moving forward, then I'm progressing. The minute I stop doing that, I get really anxious. I'm about to wrap up school now in May, and I'm already a little freaked out of what am I going to do next? What am I going to do next? And I think that what drives me is that, right? That forward motion. Did I work out today? Did I do something? Did I do some type of activity? Right. It doesn't have to be, a 30-mile, 40-mile bike ride. It could be a 5-mile bike ride. Was I outside? And most importantly, did I give gratitude? Did I thank somebody for being in my life? Yeah. And for whatever reason, man, you want to make someone's day? Just walk up to them out of, hey, thanks for being in my life. I appreciate you. Whoa.
Yeah, right. I haven't heard that in years. Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah, what's some kind of weirdo?
So just being thankful for waking up, man. Yeah. It's the only opportunity I need.
100%. Let's take it back to the customer. So when you're in the BPO space, you have a dozen or so customers, Fortune 500 kind of companies, and now your customers, the community? I mean,
the community.
And how do you service that customer? It's different.
Yeah, it is and it isn't, man. Right. So, in the BPO space, your customer, right, is the client, and their customer is the customer. It's what do they want? What are they relying on you for? If they're in the BPO space, or they're relying on you to take care of their customer, provide a service, answer questions, that's that. My customer is a community. They're relying on me that when they call 911, that someone's going to show up to the house. They don't want somebody who's a pretty good paramedic or a pretty good firefighter, or they want the best paramedic, the best firefighter to show up on their door and take care of them in the time that they're most stressful, right? Because it's something that I'm short of breath. My chest hurts. I just
It's a
fell.
pressure-packed situation.
Right.
Yeah.
They need the best of the best. They don't want the kind of good firefighter. They want the best of the best to show up. And you've got to deliver that service. But more importantly, what do they need right then and there? Mm-hmm. Do they need comfort? Right. Do they need medical care? Do they just need direction on what to do next? And you have to be able to decipher what that is. You can't treat every patient the same way. You can't expect that the answer that you're going to give them is going to be the same answer to everyone. The same that you can't treat every customer the same way. We have more educated customers than ever before. Yeah. We also have customers who just want to solve this for me. I don't want to hear the 15-minute spiel on your goals and how good the company is. Just make this problem disappear. And as service providers, because at the end of the day, it's what we are, we need to decipher what does this customer need and how quickly can I get it to them? Because the sooner I can solve this problem, it just de-escalates the entire situation. Yeah. We get to a call and grandma fell and she's screaming, she's stuck in the bathroom. The minute we get her comfortable, the husband's comfortable, the daughter's comfortable, just the tension goes down.
So how do you get a customer? You walk into one of these situations, right, that unfortunately somebody's having a heart attack, an OD, whatever. Mm-hmm. How do you defuse that situation so that you can operate calmly and take care of business? You
have to operate calmly. Because they're expecting you to be the professional. So they're going to follow your lead. You get in and you're like, whoa, forget it. That place has gone to hell in a handbasket. Right. But you get there. Hey, you grab airway. You grab the IV. You start pulling meds. You put the cuff on them. Super calm. When a scene operates like that, man, it just brings the temperature down.
And it's operating off of a playbook, right? It's
100.
It's a checklist playbook. Business is the same way, right? When you're shooting from the hip, you don't have a roadmap of sort of a playbook of like, this is how we operate. That's when things go.
And people recognize that.
Right.
Your client will recognize, wait a minute, these guys don't have a plan.
They don't have a plan.
They showed up. They said, oh, we can do this. When they rubber met the road, they had no idea what was going on.
No, right.
Now I'm freaking out.
Exactly. And the same is when you walk into one of these situations.
We walk into a situation, what it could be, abuelita fell down.
Right.
The daughter's freaking out. La tia's freaking out. The people are just showing up in the house. I'm like, where are these people? I go, who they call first? They call the families first, then they call 911.
Yeah.
And right away, it's like, hey, calm down. First, if it's a Spanish family, speak in their language. You want to defuse a situation. When I say something in Spanish,
They love you.
It's game over.
By the way, we should have done this podcast.
It's game over.
Much
It's
better.
mijito, que tú quieres,
Yeah.
me doctor. I'm like, I am not a doctor by any stretch of the imagination. But right away, it diffuses it, man.
Yeah.
When you release the tension in any situation, whether it's on the phone with a customer, whether it's a customer at a car accident who's trapped in a car, man, hey,
I got this.
I got this.
I've done this before.
Everybody relax. We had a kid who fell down. They cracked his head. The mom is freaking out, scaring the little girl.
Right.
I go, Mom.
We got it.
I go, relax.
Yeah.
I got down. I looked the little girl in the eye. I'm like, what's going on? By the way, nice Vans. Did you just get those? Turns the situation. The mom's still freaking out. But then we got somebody else to take care. Mom, come over here. I need some information from you. Remove them from the scene.
It's funny, you mentioned language.
Mm-hmm.
Language is important, not just in your situation where you walk into Abuela's house and you start speaking Spanish, but in business and in leadership.
Sure.
How do you do that with the fire department and your teams that you manage and lead?
Yeah. We have to change the way we speak, right? Individually and as businesses. We should do this. We're going to do this. Right. That's nothing. That's an empty promise. Yeah. We will be the best at X. We will provide the best service to the customer. When you start thinking like, man, I should go to the gym this week. Yeah. No. I will go to the gym tomorrow morning.
I'm going to put a time on it. I'm going at 6 a.m.
Right. So we need to change the language and we need to change how we speak so we can make things happen.
Yeah.
Right. We can't will things to materialize. We can't hope that we're going to land new business. I can't hope that I'm going to save this guy's life. No, I will be at peak performance and I will do my best to provide my best service to the customer. I am going to do that. And I think, in business, in personal life, right, I will go ride bike today. I will bang out 30, 40 miles on my bicycle today, whether I want to or not. I will do that. And the minute you start thinking,
you start compromising with yourself. That's when things just start. It's like a house of cards.
I'll ride tomorrow.
I'll ride tomorrow, and then that's the chain of. It is so true that discipline is freedom, right? In anything, you want financial freedom, great. Well, let me see all your expenses. Okay, well, you're carrying a heavy credit card balance. You're spending way too much money on the weekends on XYZ. You live in a house that you can't afford. Right. The discipline is this: you're not going to go out on the weekends. You're going to start paying down this balance. You're going to go from a house that's like this to this. And then all the extra money you have, you will invest or reinvest in yourself or whatever. Like that takes a level of discipline, whether it's weight loss, whether it's driving your business, finance, and relationships. But it all comes down to to discipline. And if you have that discipline, it'll lead to freedom.
Because that discipline becomes habit. It just becomes
right.
natural.
Yeah.
Like I don't know any other way. I don't know anything else to do than to get up and ride bike.
Right.
I don't know anything else to do than to eat a good meal or not eat after this time or not have 10,000 beers.
They're important. They're important.
Because they build a structure for you in life and they build a structure for you in business. A guy checks out a jet when he flies a pilot the same way every time. I check out the truck in the morning. I check out the meds in the morning the same way every time. That's my routine. Sometimes I finish it and I didn't even think I'd started.
Yeah.
When you go to the gym and you work out and you finish your routine, like, I'm done?
Yeah.
Did I miss a set?
Yeah.
Because you're just banging it out.
And you go off of those playbooks. Business is the same way. Like when people start, I have friends, we own a business, friends that own business and they, what's going on? I'm like, okay, where's your playbooks? Where are your checklists? Like, what are the processes? And so many guys, they just wing it, right? I'm going to onboard this client. Okay, how do you onboard the client? Like, what is step A to Z? Oh, I don't know. We set up a conference call, we put together an Excel spreadsheet. Like, no, dude, that's not a
You already failed at step one.
You already failed at step one, right? And I've seen it, in what you shared in the fire department, at hospitals. You see it in the military, just like these playbooks. And it's like, go step by step by step by step. And it takes discipline. But once you know it, it just starts to become routine and habits. And And that's honestly where greatness starts to
There
build.
was there was a hospital. I'm going to say Maryland. I have no idea where it was. Their surgical infection rate was through the roof. So they came up. They had all the checklists, they had all the things, and nobody was following the checklist. So they had all these processes, all these, and everybody was casting it aside. So what the one surgeon did, he put a tent card on top of the scalpel, and it said, "Did you check your checklist?" So before he had to read that and take that out before he picked up the scalpel. Surgical infection rates almost went to zero. Just by following something you already had.
Right. And it's sometimes so simple. Like you're like, you hear it in business all the time. Oh, let's sit through the strategy meeting and this. And I just roll my eyes. I'm like, guys, like you're not even getting the blocking.
Yeah. You're not doing what you already said you were going to do before.
Yeah. Like our department, we had a strategy meeting at the beginning of the year, and there was some very basic stuff. Like we talked about all that. And I was like, guys, we got to get literally as simple as we got to get face-to-face time with clients. I know that sounds so simple, but we've picked up bad habits, the corporate world, because of Zoom, right? And everybody's Zoom and email and conference call. And then I'm like, we used to see clients every week. Now, we never see them. We're going to get on a plane. We're going to go see them. We're going to break bread with them. And it has had a huge impact on us, from opportunities to understanding where we want to take the business and that kind of stuff. And that was just such a simple strategy, right?
Yeah,
like that's a big strategy, really?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, but it was actually super impactful.
Right.
I didn't go with this crazy AI,
Right.
and that's what people waste their time on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When something doesn't work, rather than saying, okay, have we done everything we said we were going to do? Because if you didn't,
look at magic bullet.
then go back to that.
Go back to that. Go back to the fundamentals.
Yeah.
Every single time. And you see it like in sports, right? It's the hitter's in a slump. Okay, well let's go back. How are you moving your feet? You moving your hands? Batting practice. That sort of stuff. So
Batting practice.
yeah.
So I tell my kids, you've got to see different pitches in life, right? And as parents, you can't serve your kids softballs all the time, and you can't move them back from a high heat, and you can't back them off the plate on a curveball. Let them see. By the way, let them get dinged once in a while.
Of course.
They're going to learn, and in business, you have to take those risks, but you have to challenge yourself, and you have to continually see what are customers doing, what are customers saying. Don't shy away from the difficult customers. Don't shy away from the difficult implementations.
Yeah.
Don't shy away from a rough conversation. That's going to make you better. And we that's where you build that scab
100%.
of business.
It's hard. That's why you do it, right? If
Yeah.
not everybody would do it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you and I have talked. It just takes a little bit more effort to be better than the next guy, right? And I used to say, and I totally changed my mind on this, that Woody Allen saying of 80% of success is just showing up, and I go, man, that is such a low bar. Like, and I go through time, and I'm like, my gosh, he's kind of right on that. Like the amount of people who are late for meetings, don't show up prepared. What have you, the little things. And then you start to see, like that success leaves clues. You're like, the top guys, they did this little thing extra for me. And I'm like, that's the magic. And it takes that much effort.
You want to be the best meeting guy?
Yeah.
Bring an agenda.
100%. Do the work. Do the pre-work for everybody. Make it easy on everybody.
Make it easy. Guys, this is what we're going to talk about. Already, you're better than any other meeting
100%.
maker in
I'm
your
anticipating that we're probably going to have to go here's some extra information. Let me walk you through this.
And same thing. I tell my kids, I'm like, everyone's here. That 80%.
Yeah, everybody's here. Yeah.
Just try a little better. You're going to be much better already than the average. When you try hard, you're exponentially better.
Yeah.
With an effort that whether you apply it to school, whether you apply it to work or your personal life, man, it's you could really set yourself apart with just a little more effort, a little more desire, and then I think the last piece is you've got to stay consistent.
Yeah.
We can't run marathons all the time, but you got to keep running.
You got to keep running.
You got to keep running.
Yeah. You got to show up. You got to put in the work, and you got to be consistently just disciplined about these things.
Yeah, and it's not that complicated, right? Talking about complexity. When I look at a situation, personal life, business, at work, I use the acronym RIC, right? R.I.C. The risk, the complexity, and the intensity of the project I'm looking at. And if this is risky, and it's intense, and it's complex, does my business, do the people around me have the wherewithal to kind of push through this? I'm asking a lot of them. Right. I'm asking it's complicated, it's going to be intense, man, and it may not work.
Right.
But if it's low risk, let it be a little complicated. Let it be a little intense. If it's high risk, man, might want to simmer it down a little bit so it's not that complicated. And when I looked at relationships, when I looked at hiring people for an organization, when I looked at clients, I'm like, man, is this client going to require a lot of me?
Right.
Can my business handle it, or is it going to suck up so much resources from my business that I'm going to
And exhaust your people.
exhaust my people, and I got nothing. I got an upset client. I got people that are exhausted. I got other clients that are upset. So you really got to have a formula for how I'm going to kind of get through this situation.
I like the acronym RIC, right? The risk, intensity, and complexity.
Right.
After you've done that, what's next?
So you got to deliver, right? So you have to deliver on the goods, and you have to evaluate your team the same way that we evaluate our team at work. We have on a hazardous materials call, we have guys that are really good at mitigating the problem, right? We have guys that are really good at doing the research on the product that we have, and we have other folks that are really good at evaluating, hey, what else? What other dangers might exist around here that we haven't thought of? And that comes down to desire or talent, right? Man, I am really good at something, and I want to do it in the fire service.
Right.
I really wanted to do it, and I was in good physical health. Let's bring it. Right. There's other things that I'm not so good at. I'm going to grind it out and be okay, but not great. And when you start kind of balancing the desire versus talent, you really got to look at what this individual wants to do and what they can do. I always say, people say, work on your weaknesses. No, your weakness is your weakness. Make your strength
Super strong, right?
So strong that your weakness doesn't matter. It doesn't factor in. And that's something where I think people get lost, right? People get, if they can't do something, they don't have the drive, so they quit.
Right.
Because they didn't have the talent to do it to begin with. Well, you better have one. You better have one or the other.
Right.
You better have one or the other, because you're gonna need both of them to get through. So, once that's all done, man, you've got to clear the mind. That's the last thing. That's the one that's going to clear you.
And how do you decompress? What do you do?
Yoga and meditation, go for a walk, journal, ride bike. I think walking is great.
Yeah.
Especially if you can go out for a walk.
Are you podcasting, or you just clearing your mind?
It
or
depends.
headspace?
Yeah. Sometimes it's just if I'm in the city, if I'm walking in the city, then it's a podcast. Right. What's going on? What's somebody else doing? If I'm away, if I'm on a trail, if I'm out on the Everglades, no podcast. I just want to hear.
I've gone trail riding with you once, and we got lost. Do you remember?
That was fantastic. But we did save 2 lives.
We
though.
did save wink, wink, 2 lives. That's a whole nother podcast.
And while you're, and when I'm out there, right, volunteer work. I volunteer at Grassy Waters. It's a preserve up in Palm Beach County, where we do nature hikes and canoeing with kids and school field trips. Mm-hmm. Why'd I do it? First of all, I love to be outside.
Yeah, you like to be outside.
Number 2, I learned a lot.
Yeah.
I learned a lot about our environment.
This is why I picked you if I got stuck on the deserted island, because I can't do any of this stuff.
I gotta make a kayak.
And I'm just complaining. Get me out of here.
Perfect.
Lewis, save me.
But man, and I think you had a guest on, I don't know, last month or so, Abel Sanchez, and he says, don't be a tourist in your town. Man, don't be a tourist in life.
Right.
You see a lot of people just kind of just walking through.
Yeah.
Walking through. We have a finite number of days, on this planet. If you just want to use that by walking around aimlessly, you're wasting your time, man.
Yeah, how are you not curious?
You got to be curious. You learn something.
It's like when you go on a plane and you just see this guy, you're going on a 4-hour flight, and he just sits there and he just looks straight ahead. You're like, no book, no
nothing,
audio, maybe watch a movie, nothing. Just like staring at the wall. You're like, oh my God.
Yeah. I'm telling you, there's so much to learn. There's so much to learn because there's so much to teach.
Sure.
And I think if you learn and you're not a teacher, you're selling yourself short, but you're selling somebody else short as well that can learn from.
And there's so many tools nowadays. I mean, the amount of stuff that I've learned on YouTube, just like I go down the rabbit hole, I go, okay, nutrition or business, and then you just like bam, bam, bam. If you're not educating yourself, oh well, maybe one day I'll go back to school or I'll get my graduate degree. No, start now. Like you want an
start
MBA? Well, great. You can go spend 150 grand and get into a good school and whatever, and that's good. Or you could just start reading these 50 books, and I promise you, you're gonna get about 90% of that. And the lectures, most of them are online. Like so, if it's about educating yourself and learning, start today, right? And stop the excuses.
And the good thing about that is, if you're not getting anything from it, stop, pick up something else.
Right.
You know, and it's, you know, I tell that to some of so I'm on the hiring board at work. The recruits, they work at our station, right? The first 8 weeks during Recruit Academy. So I get to hire them. You know, I get to see them, you know, out at the, you know, working and getting better. And I tell them the same way that I tell my kids, and I used to tell people who work for me, we're writing this book. We got all these pages. Write what you want.
Right.
The best thing about it, if I don't like what I'm writing, if I don't like what I'm reading, guess what? I'm going to turn the page. I'm going to go chapter 5. And I'm going to start again. A lot of people get caught up in my life is this, my life is that. Change it.
Right.
Change it. It's your life. By the way, if you don't change it, who's going to change it for you?
Exactly. Yeah. What's the scariest situation you've ever walked into where you were like, oh man? Because you don't go into a lot of fires in theory, right? You're,
you know,
once in a while.
Yeah.
Chemical spills and that kind of stuff.
You know, chemical spills, you know, underground, you know, gas leaks. I guess nothing is really, again, nothing is scary because we approach it with a discipline, we approach it with a plan, we approach it with a playbook. Yeah. You know, a fire where the roof's on fire, so there's a fear of collapse. You know, a trench where you're going in to cap a gas line, but you're in a very tight space, in a confined space, in a trench. A fire where you don't see, you know, there's no fire, but there's a lot of smoke, so you don't see where you're going. You don't know if the next door you open is going to be where the fire's at. You know, but again, it's a discipline. It's relying on our training. It's having a plan and a playbook. Right. So nothing is scary if you know, kind of plan for it.
Yeah. Firefighters all have nicknames. What's your nickname?
Gonzo.
Gonzo.
Pops. So the young guys call me Pops.
Pops, right.
Like the new guy, like the guys that I came on with. But mostly everybody.
Are you in any of the calendars?
Cosmo,
a lot of people. We have this is a live studio audience. I don't know if you know that. Right. And there was a woman in the back that raised her hand and asked if you were on any calendars.
So, in 2013, they made a calendar for me.
Oh my gosh. Why don't I?
I should have bought this calendar. I'm surprised Jason doesn't have one. But they superimposed my face into much better bodies than what I have. But no, I'm not. I was in the Movember photo shoot.
You do grow a great mustache. It's impressive. My friend, before I let you go, I can't let you go without doing some rapid fire questions.
Yeah, and then I got something for you. So let's.
Okay, cool. All right. Everyone knows that you're a big F1 fan.
Yes.
Schumacher or Hamilton?
Schumacher.
You can be a pitcher who hits a home run, an offensive lineman who scores a touchdown, or a hockey goalie that scores a goal. What do you pick?
Yeah, I love.
You play hockey.
Yeah, I love hockey, but that's such a weak shot. It's probably going to be on an empty net.
On an empty net.
So there's no challenge there. Man, an offensive lineman, because I'm a big stumbling
guy, and they get so excited they don't even know how to spike the ball.
I'm gonna fall across. the goal.
Everyone loves that.
Yeah, roll into the end zone. 100%.
There you go. The book that you've gifted the most.
Unbreakable.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
Your favorite, because everybody knows that you love these hikes and skiing and adventurous stuff. Your favorite explorer.
Oh, Ernest Shackleton.
Ernest Shackleton.
Yeah.
We're both big Shackleton fans.
Yeah, and again, talk about leadership. Not to steal your rapid fire question. So
No.
Ernest Shackleton, they get caught in the ice, you know, low on food. They may not make it out. All this thing. One of his guys starts not getting lippy, but starts, you know, we're doing the wrong thing. What's going on? He was gonna shoot this guy dead where he stood. Yeah. Right. At the end of the day, as a leader. Listen, your team's got their marching orders. Everyone's got to play their part. But at the end of the day, every organization needs a leader that's got to, when the shit hits the fan, they've got to clamp down and say, at the end of the day, this is on me, and it's going to happen like this. And Shackleton said, this is what we're doing. This is how we're going to do it, and I will shoot you dead if you don't stick with the plan.
Right. He kept all those men alive, right? I think maybe one died, right? No,
he kept them all
Yeah,
alive.
he kept all alive.
Yeah, and they all survived, and they all found a
In the
boat,
Arctic.
and they, yeah.
Yeah, it's
So,
an amazing
shout out
story
to
and great book for people to read. You get stranded on an island, and you get one artist, their music library, for the rest of your life on this island. What artist do you pick?
Eddie Vedder.
Eddie Vedder. Okay, good stuff, my man. That's it. We're
Almost. So, quick story.
Okay.
During Vietnam,
Yeah.
right, there was a bar that would serve free drinks to the servicemen. And all the servicemen had to do was prove that they were in combat. So, bring a bullet, bring an article. A tooth, whatever it was. So when things got a little out of hand, people started bringing grenades, and we need a better system for this. So it was one of the Army's infantry teams that kind of stamped a coin with their infantry number. So it became a thing. You show up to a bar, you present this coin. Here's your drink. It's become tradition to coin or mint coins for the armed services, for different different groups, right? Everybody's got their own coin. So what I've got for you is a little coin.
Wow, West Palm Beach Fire Department. Very, very cool. This is awesome, man. What an honor.
So that is our department's coin.
Very cool.
With our logo on it. So I don't know if it'll get you a free beer anywhere.
I hope.
But it's,
after this podcast, we'll go test it out.
But again, so they get printed, and they don't get printed again.
Really?
There's 275 of those.
Well, thank you so much. I'm honored. Honored that you'd come on the podcast. Honored that, by the way, you also gave me this cool T-shirt
I did give you
that I wore today. My friend, anything you want to plug? I know that you're involved in lots of nonprofits and different organizations.
Yeah, so the two big ones for me are environmental, right? So the Everglades Foundation, just trying to keep our ecosystem here in South Florida healthy, and our waterways. We've seen, a lot of the tidal issues that they've had out on the west coast of Florida. So just be mindful, right, of what we're putting in our ground. And then firefighter mental health is the other one, right? We have a mental health crisis that's affecting everyone in this country, right? It's really affecting our firefighters when firefighters are more likely to die by suicide than a line of duty death, which is incredible. That's even something that we talk about, right? Yeah. So again, if you're a firefighter, if you're a first responder, if you're having trouble, seek help, seek a friend. There's plenty of assistance out there. Just reach out to somebody and get some help.
All right, amigo. Thank you for coming on.
My pleasure.
Don't ever change.
Absolutely.
If I get stranded on that island, I'm taking you.
Call me.
All right.
Call me.
Later.